music is healing, and that's why I'm glad we're going to talk about that today. So, well, welcome to the Mental Margarita Show. We're visiting with Sevanatra. It's an independent recording artist that has blends of fusion of country, R&B, cinematic storytelling, a little bit of everything into some exciting music with some powerful lyrics. We're glad to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
It's always a beautiful day at the Mental Margarita Show, and we're always excited to visit with artists from all over and be able to share your music and your story with others. A child of the '80s, you're born in Ohio. Life got off to a little bit of a rocky start. So your biological mother battled alcoholism, which then ended up up for adoption.
Correct. Yeah. So she had a lot of issues, and she was unable to actually take care of me. And so she actually made the good decision to actually put me up for adoption. I got adopted into a great family. Um, and yeah, we've just been moving around ever since.
So they moved around some, but you ended up in Phoenix, which is where you end. That's kind of where you finished raised growing up was there.
Yeah, I would say probably from the age of 13 up until 24. My formative years, that's where I grew up and kind of found out who I was and through all my teenage crazy years and kind of built the person that I was at the time until I got a little bit older and more mature.
So this music bug hit you pretty early. You started writing at an early age, started with rap lyrics as a teenager at
Yeah.
13,
Yep.
and used it as a way of an escape. What were you writing about during, when you first started doing this? And who were some of your influences? Because if you were looking at, rap music and some other things, who was on your playlist at the time?
During that time, it would have been a lot of Tupac. So
Mhm.
I grew up, had older brother and older sister. They actually introduced me into hip hop and rap. So I grew up off Tupac and Biggie and let's say Bone Thugs and Harmony. I really like Bone Thugs, the way they would use their voices melodically. And that's where I got a huge part of my style because when I rap, I'm actually singing at the same time. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, those are probably my biggest rap influences. And I would continue to jump genres. I always liked classical music as well. That seemed to like calm my mind down to where rap really helped open my mind to different scenes that I could play out in my head. And I would just be writing stories, writing my feelings down. Um, all my friends around the neighborhood, we would just get together and cause trouble and write some raps. And it was really just a way for me to express my internal feelings. Had a lot of anger. Um, so yeah, it really was nothing more than an outlet for me to express myself and how I was feeling at the time.
Into your 20s, there was some rough times, and now you blamed some of this on some bad influences that you also became an addict and was battling addiction and substance use, and that left you ultimately losing everything and becoming homeless.
Right.
So you had to make some kind of change. Would you say that was your lowest point?
Definitely the beginning of one of my lowest points. Yeah, I had so-called friends that turned out to be really, growing up in that age, everyone seems like they're really good friends, but everybody's out for themselves ultimately when you're into that lifestyle. I just became really broken. Um, Tried almost everything under the sun. Lost a couple of friends to overdoses as well. Began drinking a lot at the same time, and just my life began to just spiral out of control. Um, and yeah, ultimately, it led me to the point to where I only had a backpack. I didn't have a house to live in. I was just jumping from couch to couch. And by the age of 24, I was completely miserable and just hated myself, hated life. Um, didn't know where I was going to be. And then that's when I got a phone call from my aunt who actually lives up here in Michigan. She gave me the opportunity to move up here and check myself into a rehab. So that's what I did. I took my backpack, got on the next flight I could, checked myself into rehab, and kind of the rest is history.
So on that path, you found the Lord.
Correct.
Getting out of Phoenix was probably the best thing you could have done, leaving people, places, and things that were harmful to you, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so that experience, you started fresh start. Now you're a believer. So this led you to finding, now you found work. You were a dishwasher in a restaurant, and everyone knows that is not a glamorous. It's not a glamorous job in any way. It's hard work. It's hot work, and you find yourself now in Michigan, and now you meet the woman that's going to become your wife. So tell us a little bit about kind of this time of your life that things are changing. You went from losing everything to slowly starting to regain who you are as a person, and some of the blessings that God had for you.
So yeah, so I ended up coming up here to Michigan. I was in rehab for a little under a year, which actually, and it was actually a Christian-based rehab. So that's where I was really able to connect my soul back to God, and realize that He was calling my name since I was born, and I just choose to let my anger take over for so many years. And then finally, once I realized that I can't keep running, that I just keep running from my past, keep running from my problems, it got me nowhere. So I completely surrendered to Him, and He took my brokenness and He began to heal me. So yeah, at 24, 25, I started completely over with basically nothing and took the first job I could, and that was a dishwasher at a restaurant. And didn't make me feel very good that I'm 25 years old. I should have my life more together by that age, but it was the biggest blessing in disguise that could have happened. My wife, well, the girl at the time who would be my wife, she worked there as well as a waitress. Um, so we just began to hit it off a little bit, and her mom is actually the one who hooked us up. And I ended up, after working at the restaurant for a little over a year, I got hired in as a welder. And so I was about to leave that job. And then that's when uh, my wife, we exchanged numbers, started keeping in contact. And then next thing you know, this is the woman I'm going to marry. She's my best friend. She's the love of my life, the mother of my three beautiful daughters. And we've been able to pick up the broken pieces of my life and build this beautiful dream that I didn't think I would ever be able to have. And she is my biggest inspiration, to really get back into the music. I always love expressing my emotions through my music. It's a little bit hard for me to communicate just regular conversations. She always knew that. So I would just write little rap R&B songs for her in the beginning. And then over the last few years, I started making music again once my daughters started getting a little bit older and they're not toddlers anymore. So I was able to pour more energy into my music again. And I came up with the album Backyard America. And now I'm here.
Now, Backyard America just recently was featured on the Second Opinion Sports Show, for their halftime show, which airs on the CW in Eastern North Carolina. So that was really exciting. What a beautiful and great song. Now people in Las Vegas are going to get to hear it too, which I'm excited about. And they'll be able to touch them. And you get this instant connection to family, home, the wonderful country that we live in, all those little moments and things that make our lives so special and beautiful and wonderful. So your music captures that message. And let's talk about your name for a second. So Sevanatra. So as a child, you had a nickname of Seven,
Correct.
So, and then also inspired by Frank Sinatra. So I'm from New Jersey, so Frank Sinatra is like a household name for
Yeah.
us, and was a favorite in our house too. So why'd they call you Seven?
Um, my friends came up with the nickname Seven. I think they said I was a little crazy as a kid. Some days I would be more happy and outgoing. Other days I wouldn't be. They said I had like seven different personalities. Um, so I just let that kind of sink in, and they just began to call me Seven. And I liked it. It kind of stuck with me. I've always had weird things happen in my life that always ended up in the number seven. For some reason, that would always pop up. Um, so that just kind of carried with me throughout my younger life and teenage and into my early 20s. But then once I started to really change my life and God completely turned all of my brokenness around, um, I didn't care for the name Seven anymore because it had such a dark undertone of my past connected to it, but I still felt like that's who I was. So I always loved Frank Sinatra, his voice and the Rat Pack. Anytime I would listen to them, just always made me not so sad, not so depressed. And the song "My Way" was one of my favorites. So I took uh, Sinatra and I mixed it with seven, and that's where we come up with Sevanatra, which actually stands for my artistic completion. So starting off as seven, being broken, combining it and making Sevanatra now that I have my life in order and God has blessed me beyond measure. It just all came to fruition, and the rest is history from there. We're just really letting backyard America get its time. We've been getting so much amazing feedback, and I appreciate that from everybody. I really hope that people are able to just throw the album on during a barbecue or 4th of July. We were lighting fireworks and had the Backyard America song just blaring, and the neighborhood was loving it. So yeah, so you can reach me at any social media or check my music out. It's everywhere. And I want to say thank you again to you guys at Mental Margarita. And just, I hope everybody enjoys it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, light that fire up. Summer in the heart of the whole wide world. Sunset gold on a 2-lane road. Tailgate down where the cooler stays cold. White smoke rolling off the grill real slow. Got the whole block pulling in like there they go. Flag on the porch and the kids out back, barefoot running through the yard like a racetrack. Mama got the sweet tea, daddy got the flame. Everybody here knows everybody's name. Speaker in the window got the kick drum knocking. Old men laughing while the young folks are rocking. Fireflies flash like camera lights. Man, this feels like freedom on a Friday night. We ain't gotta go downtown, we got heaven right here on the ground. A little bit of smoke, little bit of stars, whole lot of love in a backyard. Backyard America, light that fire up. Red, white, blue, put it in the sky. Everybody knows when the sun goes down, we're gonna raise a little praise tonight. Backyard America, turn that song up. Coke cans, tan lines, good times forever. From the grill to the stars to the sparks flying high. We're free, we're family, we're alive together.
So, Dr. Bob Rich, we're excited to have you visit us again on the Mental Margarita Show here in Las Vegas and around the world now. We're so excited to be giving some updates, and you have some new things to share with us, some developments in your own personal story and some of the work that you're doing to share with the world. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's my honor.
Now, since we last visited, and you can share as much of this as you'd like with us, but personally in your own life, you have recently, or not that long ago, lost your daughter to a terminal illness.
Yes.
And can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, well, my daughter one day looked in the mirror and her eyes had turned yellow and her skin had darkened. And her brother happened to ring her from interstate, and she said, told this to him as a joke. And he said, "Go to your doctor now." And she had inoperable liver cancer.
Wow.
And 19 months of medical torture later, she was dead. That was in December. And, well, the last time I suffered serious grief was in the year 2000 when my mother died. And I had all the materials for writing my biography of her, and I couldn't even look at it for 2 years. And then that was the hardest book I ever wrote, and it's the one that's won the most awards. It has four awards.
Wow.
But this time, my daughter died in December, and almost immediately I was okay. I mean, I'll miss her for the rest of my life, but that deep, gnawing dragon of grief isn't there. I'm at peace about it. But one of the healing tools is to turn bad into good, to put some benefit from it. And that's this book. And it's amazing, isn't it? It's a mirror image. Isn't that clever?
It is. Yes.
And
the whole in your life.
Yes. And in the meantime, in the 20 odd years in between, I became a very skilled and experienced psychotherapist. And I've been of service to hundreds of people, helping them with their losses. And so I've applied all that to myself, and it's all in that book. And my making a benefit out of it is to share it with as many people as possible. This is the book you need when your world falls apart.
Can you help navigate us a little bit through your process of how you've outlined dealing with loss?
Okay, well, you can read the first couple of chapters, in the preview in Amazon, but the first thing is we're not alone. Right through, before we were human, people have been losing their children. I think of dairy cows. Every year, the poor cow is made to have a calf and doesn't even have fun. It's artificial insemination. And that when that calf is born, it's taken away and converted into veal. And that cow grieves. They feel grief.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in a sense, it's normal. And that helps. If you step outside yourself, when you suffered a major loss, you say, I know other people, or there are many other people who have put their lives together after a loss like this. And that's a help. And this book was about 2/3 written before my daughter got ill. Then I struck a difficulty and I put it aside. I've got lots of other things to do. But I built it around a young couple. She was a little bit careless. He was a little bit fast. And as a direct result, their little toddler son died a horrible death. And they both were suicidal, both bitterly blamed the other, and they broke up. And they came to me referred by different doctors, And then I had 9 individual sessions with them, and then the three sessions with them together. And not only did they resolve their grief, they got back together as a couple. So if they could do it, I can do it, you can do it. That's sort of the most horrific situation I know of. Being directly responsible for killing your child. That's terrible. Huh? But what you mentioned early on in your introduction is perfectly correct. The subtitle of my book is Grief and Bereavement, because bereavement is grief for a death. But if you and I have a little friendly game and I beat you, you might feel 30 seconds of grief. Oh, it's not fair, why? Yeah? Over it. But that's still grief. So someone steals my bicycle, the sense of loss is grief. So whatever happens, the tools in my book will help you to cope with all the negatives in life. One of those tools is fun. See, I'm a grumpy old man. I don't have a sense of humor, but I always prove other people have a sense of humor because they laugh at me. You're supposed
Is that
to
what
laugh.
it is then?
You're supposed to laugh.
That was, well, you put it in reverse there. So
Well, all right.
there is, and laughter is great medicine. And, from giving us endorphins to just the act of a smile, lowering blood pressure and having so many other positive things for us. But it is necessary for us to have balance of both and be able to function even in the middle of grief and loss and trauma. Those things that's part of life. So I think your approach, because you've written on many different topics, that you've covered a lot of things that people deal with in life, in your own style, and how you apply them to stories that are very relatable to people. So when they read them and they discover and see themselves within the story. So it gives them a
I hope
chance
so.
to
Yeah.
connect to what you're saying.
Yeah, well, you see, every sentient being is my family. So I want to be of service to my family. But, people say, how can you have fun? How can you laugh when you're being ravaged by grief? But, police, armed personnel, nurses, doctors, they survive through black humor.
They have to. We all have to. We're in there's a time in the world right now that that's not at peace, and there's so much violence and frustration. There's a lot of negative emotions. So we each are responsible for putting out positive energy and happiness, first beginning with ourselves, and then letting that vibrate beyond us and out to others. And just as you mentioned, just smiling at someone on the street can be the difference in their day.
You don't even have to smile. You can just send a loving thought. I use the Buddhist term metta because the English word love is fuzzy. If I see a nice young woman down the street and I say, I love you, that'll be taken the wrong way. But if I say, I give you the metta in my heart, if she knows what that means, that's quite okay. Metta is the unconditional love that Jesus talks about. When Jesus says, love thy neighbor, doesn't mean hop into bed with him.
Right.
Yeah. Quite the opposite, in fact. Yeah. I've got I've got some lovely guided imagery scripts at my blog. Look them up. They help to tune up your immune system.
I'll do that. There's
Yeah.
there's so much on there. So
Yeah.
you should collect some of those things into a book themselves. But
Well, in a way I do. I've run an online course on positive psychology a number of times, and I'm writing up the course note into a little book, and each session starts with a guided imagery. So I've had a dear friend record them for me into audio, and so I'll put the audio up. So the idea is that you can listen to it, to the guided imagery script, because it's
that's
much better than reading it. Anyway, my dear, thank you. And
You're welcome. And it's good seeing you again and visiting.
I have officially launched my first Ava Bentley exclusive Airbnb in Galveston, Texas. The DeForest house, built in 1883, is preserved with both luxury and history. Book your stay today on Airbnb. When you book the house, tell them you saw this ad, and you will receive a free Ava Bentley gift bag when you check in.
Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small. But love is the majority. Love fills our hearts, our lives, our everyday.